House of Pain is a fairly unique release from Cordoba, Argentina-based heavy psychedelic rock band Las Historias. This is a band that is a little bit fly-by-night. They're just a little bit out there in terms of producing more of a 60s heavy rock freakout, a little bit of a harder 70s rock style, and they're combining those two things in kind of a stoner scene. So if you're used to a lot of the groups that are coming out of Argentina right now, which are a little bit darker, maybe a little bit more attuned to earlier Electric Wizard and that kind of thing, you'll find that this band is an interesting alternative in terms of the way that they sound. Now, you might remember this band possibly from their self titled EP, which became their debut LP, and probably because the psychedelic butthole that was kind of on the front of it. And I think that caught a lot of people's attention. I think it sold like 8 different runs and it was very popular. So instead of putting out another record, they put out a lot of live and jammed releases, either live in studio or just rehearsal sessions or demo sessions. And that's what this is. This is a 12-inch LP that is essentially a demo recording for their next LP. But there's some interesting flavor text in the press release that suggests that he either had to sell or lost his guitar, the main person behind the band, Thomas Iramain, and at some point they stopped making this demo and it became an LP with a couple of smaller pieces in there too to kind of round it out. So it's short, it's very raw, it sounds like a pre-production demo, and we'll cut to what it actually sounds like in terms of style after this clip, so we'll get to that first. If you're familiar with occult rock and how that kind of transitions into the sound of a band like Uncle Acid, and where a band like Mephistopheles takes it in a darker, sort of grinning, evil kind of sound, this band is somewhere in between a lot of those things, but they're not quite as heavy. There's a lot of Led Zeppelin influence, or not exactly budgie, but there's certainly that feeling of a band, the kind of heavy rock bands that showed up after the first 2 Led Zeppelin records, where the blues rock was kind of still there, and all of it was kind of enhanced by guitar effects and things like that. There's a couple of Sabbath grooves on this thing. There's a couple of really simple pieces here that are more attuned to psychedelic rock and the way that they slowly ooze out. And there's certainly a fixation on different use of different guitar effects otherwise. So it's all very raw. It has a certain sound to it that I actually like quite a bit. The main reason that I started talking about this is not only because it's a little bit infectious on some of these songs. They're very basic and not that original, but the performances are sort of drugged. They're a little bit just in the right spirit, I guess. And the guitar sound is kind of perfect the way that it rattles around, and the amount of reverb used is real feeling. It's a little bit pleasant, and there's kind of a heavy blues come down to the whole thing. So I'm a fan of that, and I think it's pretty good. It's pretty short too. This is not a very substantial 12-inch release. And some of the tracks are either different versions of the same thing that we've heard before, or they're just not that substantial or not that good. So there's some pretty repetitive use of guitar effects. I think this is very much an under the influence type of thing. And the main reason I want to talk about it is because I got a kick out of it. It's just kind of good music in a very dirty and raw style that conveys something. Whatever it is, it's their state of mind, and I appreciated it. It's pretty memorable release. I would have rather have gotten a second full length instead of a bunch of demo songs, but on the same level, maybe these are probably, they might actually end up being better in the long run because of how raw and imperfectly formed they are. I think that really suits this band and the feeling of it. And I generally recommend it. It's a high recommendation on some level. It's a moderately high recommendation for anyone who's not into this type of thing. So check it out. See if that's your thing. See if it's along your style lines. Otherwise, this released on August 2nd. You can check it out now and see what you think. And read my review if you'd like more of my thoughts.